Good afternoon, everybody. Today is the 13th of January 2022, and today I'm going to unbag the last two bags of the early potatoes. I realise it's not so early anymore, that I planted about 4 months ago. Now we have already used, let me think, 5 bags of the earlies, and so I just have 2 left, one of each variety. I'll come back to that in a minute, but I thought I would just get this done and onto video so you can see what the results have been. Now, just to cast back a memory, if you remember, I actually put quite a number of potatoes in each bag, I think 4 or 5, which was more than the bag really could cope with or feed or whatever. So I've been getting about 1.8 kilos per bag of nice potatoes. Some little ones and some medium-sized ones, but not big ones, but then you don't want that with new potatoes. So we've still got the main crop ones. I'll leave them for another couple of weeks. They've started to die off a bit, and I mean, they can stay in the bags for a couple of months yet probably, although with the warm weather the bags are getting quite warm. Today is overcast, cloudy. We were supposed to get rain, but we didn't, and we haven't, and we might get some tail end of the weekend, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to water the garden later. But for now we will get on with unbagging these last 2 bags of early potatoes. Now here we go. So the 2 varieties that I planted were Rocket and Swift. I can't really tell whether there was much. There wasn't a lot of difference, but there was a minor difference. Don't ask me what it was, I can't really remember, but one of them did seem a bit more waxy than the other. So let's start with the Rocket. No, actually I won't. I'll start with the Swift. Let's see how we go. So this is the Swift. I've already cut most of the tops off. So now we'll unbag it and see what's here. Take the label off the bag. As you can see, there are a reasonable number of potatoes in here. I'll do bags again next year. I might put a slightly different mix in the soil. I did have some cheap kind of compost on the top, and I don't think it really gained anything. Probably better to use soil. So, little ones as well. Little ones are good. The kids really enjoy the little ones. We've had a few families around for barbecues and things, and they always like those little ones. Well, we're not averse to them either, of course. The reason I'm unloading this onto a tarpaulin is because I want to make sure that I get all of the potatoes out, because I'm going to reuse this soil for something else in the bag. So I don't really want potatoes coming up in amongst it, which they will if I leave them in here. the rocket actually seemed to produce a nicer potato. Sorry, not the rocket, the Swift, which is what these are. The rocket tended to get a bit pitted for some reason, which we might see when we do the other bag. Interesting, having the bags, the soil does get very warm inside the bags, you know, during the warm weather. What I've done with the other bags that I've already emptied, I've put the soil back into the bags after I've gone through it thoroughly, and we've planted, some have got tomatoes in, some have, there's one I think, yeah, one's got basil in it, and what else? Something. Oh, capsicums. So again, because we ran out of garden space for all the seedlings that Kathy propagated, some of them have been moved into bags. There's a worm in there, so he can stay there. I'll just get a shovel. So I would say, looking at what's in that little pile there, that in actual fact the Swift probably don't produce as many potatoes, or as the rocket, but we'll see once we've done the other bag. We'll see what we can see. This is the first time that I've emptied 2 bags of different variety at the same time to do a compare, or to make a comparison, if you like. Now, just a word of warning really. Now I have said that I'm putting capsicums or tomatoes or basil in this same soil. I would probably only do that once, just because they're all, well, particularly the tomatoes and the potatoes, they're the same family of plants, and so probably not a good idea to just keep rolling that over. For next season I'll put fresh soil in. It hasn't had potatoes in it. So these are the rocket. The label is pretty much gone, but I can still see that it says rocket. So let's have a look and see what we've got. Here we go. You can see on that one, at least I hope you can, see how it's got little imperfections in the skin, whereas the Swift doesn't have that. Not so much anyway. It doesn't affect the taste, by the way. A few more worms in this soil for some reason. You can see that soil's still quite damp. I have kept watering them, which according to some is not the thing to do, but they were still growing. You can see some of these are a bit bigger. And just for comparison, I'm actually going to unbag one of the main crop ones as well, just so that we can see. Now we'll just take these tops off. As you can probably see there, some of them have died off already. Let's see what we've got in here. Now these are Summer Beauty. And these are a bit bigger, which is what you'd expect. There's still some little ones. I suspect they are, would grow on if I left them. Quite handy that these bags have a little loop on the bottom. Makes it much easier to empty them. what I'm going to do now is to weigh each of the contents of the bags and see how they compare. They look pretty even, to be honest, but looks can be deceiving, as we know. So let's see how we go here. So you can see, if I shade that, hopefully, you can see that I've zeroed out the scale. So now we'll put some potatoes in it, see what it looks like. So these are the Swift ones. As you can see, there's quite a variance in, somebody said a nibble, in size. So these, that's probably one of the, oh no, there's a bigger one down there. That's one of the bigger ones. If I put that in the palm of my hand, you can see how big it is. Not very big, but fine for an early. So then if we put that on here, oh, that's the heaviest I've had. So that's 2.1 kilos. So I'm pretty happy with that. And basically I had 3 bags of one early and 4 bags of the other early, and each of the seed potato bags had 1.5 kilos in it. So I have harvested about 3 to 1 minimum, maybe 4 to 1 on the Swifts. So these are the rocket ones, and again they're similar size, the bigger ones, and some tiddlers as well. What have we got? Yeah, so that's about what I've been getting. I didn't weigh all the Swift ones, but that's about what I've been getting from the rocket. 1.8, 1.9, somewhere around there. So I'm happy with that. This is the main crop, Summer Beauty. A little bit bigger, some of them. There are small ones as well, but yeah, slightly bigger. And if I leave them in there a bit longer, they'll probably grow a bit more. And again, yeah, there we go, 1.9. About the same as the Swift. So yeah, that's what we got. If the main crop, as they go on, if I seem to be getting a lot more, then I'll probably add a comment to the video later. That's it for now. Let's go for a walk, and I'll show you what I've done with the other bags. So the bags that have already been repurposed, none of those. That's all the main crop. Here's one with a capsicum in it, and the capsicum is going well, and the basil is going much faster than I can eat it, so we will need to do something with that. And that, I think, is a chilli that Kathy's just put in there a couple of days ago. And here's another. This could be a capsicum, or it could be a pepper. Well, just a chilli. But so this year, or last year, we were given some capsicums, some long capsicums that are sometimes chilies, and so Kathy kept the seeds out of them, and so we have a superabundance of capsicum and chili plants. So they're coming along well. The strawberries, to be fair, in the pots haven't been a great success, but I don't know whether that's because of the pots or because of the strawberries. I'm still kind of figure that out. We have had some of them, but they've been slow. This one has got a lot of foliage. I need to give it a bit of a haircut. And you can see there are strawberries coming on there. I'm wondering if, so that I gave it a feed, gave them a feed with something that was lower in nitrogen and more phosphate and potash, so hopefully that'll promote fruit growth rather than leaf growth. And here are more of the capsicum chilies, and also some self-seeded melons. So these are a honeydew type melon. So these just popped up in the veggie garden, and so we've just let them grow. There's another one here. There's another capsicum over here, and Kathy's dahlias growing in the background, and lovely petunias down in the front here. If anybody wants a basil plant, let us know. We've still got heaps of them, and there are more basil here. Let's go for a walk around the other side, and more basil here. I think we're going to be making pesto and anything else that we can make with basil. So around here is where, because the other thing that Kathy did last year was she kept seeds out of tomatoes, which means that we have lots of tomato plants, but we don't know what sort they are, as in what variety. So that's a fine. Some of these are obviously predeterminate, in other words they get to a certain height and stop, and some of them are not, as you can see over here. We already have more tomatoes than we can eat, so I'm going to have to make tomato relish or something, because we're going to have a severe glut of tomatoes by the end of the week. And growing 2 courgette plants, a yellow one and a green one. I'm growing them up the pole, and that seems to be working so far. As you can see, there are more tomatoes. And these are the rest of the zucchinis, not zucchini, these are the rest of the capsicum slash chilies, and we won't know until they get a bit further on. Also, I planted a apple cucumber plant, one plant. I'll show you around here. There's the root of the plant, and it has gone crazy. This has probably been in, I think, about 6 weeks, and as well as a glut of tomatoes, we're going to have a glut of apple cucumbers. So you can see it's just flowering and fruiting and going crazy, which is great because I like apple cucumbers, but you can only eat so many, so I think we'll be giving some of those away as well. And I planted these beans, I want to say 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 now, so they're starting to get away as well. I think that's probably about it for today. I need to go and wash those potatoes and then put them out so that they dry before we store them away in a cool, dark place. So what I will do is give you a nice shot of a rose to finish. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't really do it justice. It is a beautiful pink rose. So that's it for today. Catch you next time.